Welcome back, y'all. Today we're going to go over all the new clues found in the newest Lana Lore game called The House I Sensed Before Me. We will also discuss all the weird announcements Lana has been making in the Saudade group. Now, the Lana we're talking about in today's video isn't the same Lana we rescued from Lena and Agamemnon. This Lana is the one that a lot of people forgot about. The Lana with the missing eye. While we have never met her outside of questionnaires and fortress meetings, she still exists within the Lana Lore and is more important in the story than she makes us believe. The goal of today's video is to figure out the real reason why Agamemnon chose Lana and if Lana with the missing eye can be trusted. Let's go ahead and start by exploring the new map and finding clues. So before you enter the game, there's already a clue hidden in the thumbnail. It shows an image in black and white and writing that says, "I can't get it out of my head. I can't get it out of my veins. Tell me, what did I do to deserve such a childhood?" Oftentimes, people brush it aside. How come I'm not granted the same privilege of forgetting? The image itself is hard to decipher since it's so dark, but when zooming in, the white particles kind of look like they're forming tentacles of some kind. So maybe it's showing an image of the creature that ate all the coterie members. Besides the thumbnail, the description of the game also says, "In Michigan, the morning dove, where I called home." Maybe one day I'll look back and find solace in the memories. Once you enter the game, you'll notice you're back at Lana's childhood home from the Chapter 1 quest, except it's in black and white and there isn't a two-headed monster chasing you around. When walking around Lana's house, there's a bunch of random writing on the wall that you can find. I took a screenshot of all the clues already, which we'll review in a second, but the main thing I wanted to show is that Lana's room is barricaded. This is the only room in the entire map that you're not able to enter anymore. Also, side note, the noises in the background are so eerie in the game. Now let's review the clues I found. I tried putting them in chronological order just so it makes more sense, but I'm not sure if it's correct. The first writing says, "In Michigan, the winters were so cold it worsened my health." The line, "It worsened my health," is written again and again on the same wall, almost as if Lana's trying to convince herself that this is the truth. Or maybe the memory of Michigan hurts her so much she spirals out of control. The next writing says, "A curse has been placed onto my family." Now we all know that Lana Lore includes a lot of Greek mythology, so this specific writing could be linked to the curse of the house of Atreus. Atreus being the father of Agamemnon, but we'll get more into that later. The next writing says, "I don't even want to think of my parents right now." And I think the writing that follows this says, "It's not their fault, I just resent them for their choice." I think Lana's referring to her parents here. It's possible they made a choice that caused the family to be cursed, which led to Lana's suffering. Moving on to the next writing, it says, "If I never took the red orb from his hands, I would have lived such a normal life." Agamemnon isn't who I want to trust, but someone I had to. I'm assuming the red orb is referring to the apple Lana ate which poisoned her, and she also states she had to trust Agamemnon. However, the other Lana has a journal entry found in Chapter 2 that says, "I can never eat or even look at another apple again. Not after what he did to me. I was fooled and I'm ashamed. He's the reason I'm in this wretched place." So to me it sounds like Lana with the missing eye and the Lana we rescued both were manipulated by Agamemnon, but in two different ways. The Lana we saved was lied to by Agamemnon, which led to her accepting the apple and eating it, while the other Lana seems to have been in a vulnerable place in her life, which led to Agamemnon easily manipulating her into trusting him and making her feel like he was her last hope. She knew it was a bad idea, but she did it out of desperation. I have a theory regarding both Lanas, but I'm gonna save that for later in the video. The next writing says, "Nellie isn't doing so well because of our absence. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to my old coterie. You were real people and I fed you all to it so selfishly." This is regarding Lana's followers from Saudade, which were all sacrificed to the creature we talked about earlier, except one member named Nellie who was able to escape. And finally, the last pieces of writing I found say the following: "Why do I let the past consume me? I'm a terrible person. Can you tell I'm so disturbed with who I used to be? Stop perceiving me. I am a terrible person." It seems like Lana has come to terms with the horrible acts she was complicit in while following Agamemnon, but she doesn't want us to perceive her, meaning she doesn't want us to judge or see her in a bad light. And honestly, it's understandable why, because from where we are standing, Lana is no better than Agamemnon. She eliminated her loyal followers and fed them to the creature without a second thought. But now Lana wants to change and stop hurting those around her. Editing me here, I forgot to talk about the badge you get once you find the basement. The badge is called "What If He Never Leaves?" The description says, "In my dreams he's there there. In the corner of my eyes, he's there. Maybe he will never leave. My appetite is forever ruined. The difference between the attic and basement is what consumes me. And then the image of the badge looks like an apple or like an orb. Honestly, I have no clue what she's trying to say by this. Maybe there's something in the attic or in the basement that we haven't seen yet. I went looking and I couldn't find anything, so maybe we'll find out later once they release new maps and more lore. But hey, if you have any guesses, let me know in the comments. Okay, back to the video, which leads us to the next section. A few days before the Dress to Impress Halloween update dropped, Lana sent an announcement in the Saudade group titled
Aide Mémoire,
which said the following: I want to remind you all that I am real. Very soon, information about me will be presented to you that may cause you to distrust me. Do not fall for the propaganda of the brainwashed. I have always stood by my word of truth, my word of redemption, and my word of upliftment. Thank you all, and I hope you have a good day. When searching up what the title means, Wiki states that it's a French loan word meaning memory aid. So Lana's intent with sending this announcement was to remind her followers to remain loyal and not to lose faith in her. She tried to paint the new information as propaganda in order to discredit the information before it was even released. The day before the update, Lana sent another announcement that said, I hope you'll never betray me. On the date of the update, Lana sent an announcement saying, where do I go from here? I'm not sure how to regain your trust. Another few days passed and a new announcement titled Transparency was sent out, which said, I want to be 100% honest to you. I'll have to clear everything up soon. The next day, a new announcement titled I'm okay now said, I'm okay. The past still haunts me, but let's live in the present. Before we look at the last message, let's discuss briefly what's going on. Lana is aware that she lost our trust. She said she wanted to clear everything up and be transparent. However, the next day she says I'm okay and tells us to live in the present. In my opinion, it seems like Lana's trying to get us to forget everything that happened and continue to trust her, even though she hasn't done anything to gain the trust back. Either she's trying to move forward without facing any consequences for her actions, or she's unable to tell us the truth because Agamemnon is still controlling her. The last announcement was titled Regarding the Awakening, and thank you to the patrons. It said, I know this isn't over, and I know once I announce my decision to cut contact from it, along with my herd, I know he will be angry, and I know I'll have to fight again. I'm so sorry for trying to trick you in the past, just know it wasn't my decision. But your support has freed a partial evil that has consumed me for years, and I could never thank you enough. In the first sentence, Lana says, cut contact from it, which I think is referring to the awakening. And we now know the awakening is related to Agamemnon gaining his full strength and power. As for the herd that Lana mentioned, she is referring to Caden, Audrey, and Jasmine from the Saudade group. Now with Lana making this decision, Agamemnon will surely retaliate against her and her followers. Lana then says, I know I'll have to fight again, but when did she fight previously? The only ones who actually did any fighting were the players when facing Lena. So I wonder if before we met Lana, she tried defeating Agamemnon but failed. And maybe that's why she lost her eye. But she could also be lying to us. She even apologizes in her announcement for trying to trick us in the past. And then she says it wasn't her decision to do so. In the very last line, Lana says, we freed a partial evil that has consumed her for years and she is thankful for this. Maybe she's referring to the poison from the orb, or maybe she's referring to someone in her life like Lena or Agamemnon. Before we get into theories, let's talk about the family curse and what it could be referring to. In Greek mythology, the curse of the house of Atreus is basically a collection of different curses that were made against the lineage of Atreus. I'm going to summarize every curse since the stories are very long, but if you're wanting to hear the full story, I recommend checking out a video called The Curse of the House of Atreus by World History Encyclopedia. Now, the first curse happened way before Atreus was even born. It all started with Tantalus, the son of Zeus and a nymph named Plato. He was very well liked by the gods and always hung around them, but one day, Tantalus wanted to know if the gods really did know everything. So to test them, he made a soup out of his son Pelops.
I am disgusted.
All the gods knew what Tantalus did except Demeter, since her daughter Persephone had just been kidnapped by Hades. So she was distracted and ate the soup. Zeus was furious, so he cursed Tantalus's family and sent him to the underworld, where he would suffer from hunger and thirst for eternity. Zeus then resurrected Tantalus's son Pelops, which leads us to curse number 2. After everything that happened, Pelops Pelops went out traveling. While traveling, Pelops met Hippodamia, the daughter of the king Agamemnon. Pelops wanted to marry her, but the king wouldn't allow it since he was told a prophecy that his son-in-law would end his life. The only way Pelops would have a chance at marrying Hippodamia was if he won a chariot race against the king. If he lost, he would be eliminated by the king. The issue was that Agamemnon had horses that were gifted to him by Ares, so he was unbeatable. Hippodamia was incredibly in love with Pelops, so she asked her father's servant, Myrtilus, for help, who was also the son of Hermes. Just like Pelops, Myrtilus was deeply in love with Hippodamia. He agreed to help, so he sabotaged the king's chariot. During the race, the wheels fell off the king's chariot and his horses dragged him to death. After everything was said and done, Myrtilus was expecting his reward from Hippodamia. This led to Pelops becoming enraged. Myrtilus tried to explain that Hippodamia had asked him to sabotage the king's chariot. Pelops didn't care what the reason was and eliminated Myrtilus. With his dying breath, he cursed Pelops and his family. This leads us to curse number 3. Pelops married Hippodamia and later became a renowned king who was loved by all. One day, Pelops decided to have a son with a nymph named Astyoche. The son was named Chrysippus. Hippodamia and their 2 other sons named Atreus and Thyestes were worried that their father would make Chrysippus the heir of the throne, so the 2 brothers eliminated Chrysippus. However, Pelops found out what they did, so he banished Hippodamia and their 2 sons. This led the 2 brothers to travel to the city of Mycenae. This is where their rivalry began after Hermes placed a lamb with golden fleece in Atreus' flock in order to get revenge for the death of his son Myrtilus. Atreus had promised to sacrifice the best lamb in his flock to Artemis, but decided to only sacrifice the flesh and kept the golden fleece. He would brag about the fleece constantly, which led to his brother wanting to steal it. Atreus' wife Arab, who fell in love with Thyestes, agreed to steal the fleece for him. However, none of them were aware that Artemis had cursed the fleece after Atreus failed to sacrifice it to her. Fast forward, Mycenae needed a new king, and it was between the 2 brothers. Atreus said the person who owned the golden fleece should rule, not knowing that Thyestes stole it. This led to Thyestes becoming king. However, Zeus wanted Atreus to become king, so he devised a plan which led to Thyestes agreeing to give up the throne to his brother if the sun ever reversed his course in the sky and set on the east side. Zeus then had Helios reverse the sun's course and Atreus became king. Atreus immediately banished his brother from Mycenae. Okay, so the next part of the story is really graphic, but basically Atreus finds out that his brother betrayed him with his wife. So he eliminates Thyestes' sons by making them into a soup and serving it to him.
Stop it.
This family sure has a weird obsession with making people into soup. Anyways, the curse continued on, which also affected Agamemnon. In my other video, I talked about how Agamemnon sacrificed his daughter Iphigenia to Artemis, which led to his wife Clytemnestra eliminating him with her lover. Now Agamemnon and his wife had a son named Orestes. He found out what his mother did to his father and eliminated her and her lover. After doing this, he was driven to madness by the Furies, which were 3 goddesses that punished men of crimes against the natural order. Apollo felt bad for Orestes, so he told him to stand trial in the Athens. Athena and her council ruled in favor of Orestes and absolved him of guilt and removed the curse that haunted his family lineage for 5 generations. And now that we know all this, let's get into the theories. My first theory is that Lana with the missing eye is plotting something bigger than Agamemnon. I've previously talked about how I think the reason she doesn't have an eye is because she sacrificed it in order to be able to see into the future. So she knows exactly what's going to happen before it does. Maybe her plan was to fool Agamemnon into thinking that he was under control in order for her real plans to prevail and not seem suspicious. It's possible she wants us to believe that she is a victim of Agamemnon's wrath, which could be true, but while leading Saudade, she got a taste of what true power feels like, so maybe she decided she wanted to be in charge. This is why she's cutting ties with Agamemnon and taking all the members with her. My other theory is that Agamemnon is in love with the Lana that we set free. Hear me out. Agamemnon has a group on Roblox called The Plague. His most recent announcement says, "In my visions, I see glistening pillars in an orderly formation, holding up what could be my temple in the regions of Greece. We build slowly, and soon all the eyes will be on us." Who is us? Is he referring to Lana maybe? I remember someone pointing out at the end of chapter 3 while Lana's asleep that Agamemnon says, "My dear Lana, we shall meet again soon enough." With love, Agamemnon. We also see in chapter 3 that there's a glass stained window that shows an image of a woman who looks like Lana with chains and a moon behind her. This is most likely referring to the blood moon ritual that we were able to stop from happening. I suspect this is where Agamemnon is finally able to gain his full power back as a god. But what if Lana's supposed to be by his side in order to fulfill the prophecy? It is said that full blood moon rituals help with healing and transformation. And funny enough, Lena transformed while the blood moon was out. So I wonder if we hadn't stopped the ritual, if Lana would have transformed into some type of evil goddess. This leads to my next theory. What if the poison in the red orb / apple is what allows them to transform, similar to Lena? It's possible Lena also took the red orb and that's why she became that creature. This could explain why the Lana we freed says that she was fooled by Agamemnon. He probably told her she would become a goddess or some type of deity and she believed him. But she didn't know how much suffering it would cause her, and the only way to transform is by Agamemnon landing his power, which means he would have full control. My next theory is kind of an old one that's been around the community for a while, but what if both Lanas are twins? Remember how one of the writings on the wall says, "It's not their fault, I just resent them for their choice"? What if Lana's parents were in a situation where they had to give up one of their children, which led to both Lanas being separated at birth? Neither of them remember each other, and since Agamemnon is constantly making dupes, it's confusing the Lana with the missing eye, and she doesn't know if she's real or not. It's also interesting how both Lanas were presented with the apple scenario by Agamemnon, but they both recall it differently. Why does the Lana we saved call it an apple, while the other Lana calls it an orb? I'm not sure yet, but I think we'll find out soon. Now for my final theory. What if Lana and her parents are a part of Agamemnon's lineage? And since the writing on the wall says a curse has been placed on the family, maybe Lana's parents started the curse of the house of Atreus all over again by giving up one of their children. There's also the possibility that Agamemnon is the one that cursed Lana's family and they're not related to him at all. In one of Lana's journal entries, she says, "I think I know why he's doing this now. His greed cost him everything, and now innocents like me are paying the price." Maybe Lana isn't related to Agamemnon, but what if she's related to another god that he despises, like Artemis, who forced him to sacrifice his daughter, or Athena, who condemned him to the underworld for not praying enough to her? Agamemnon is definitely the vengeful type, so it's very possible that the only reason he chose Lana was to spite the gods. But that's just a theory. Thank you so much everyone for watching today's video. I hope you had fun. I always love coming up with new theories and seeing what y'all think about them. As always, let me know your theories as well. Who do you think the real Lana is? Are Agamemnon and Lana related somehow? And what curse do you think was placed on Lana's family? Also, should we trust Lana? I personally think we shouldn't trust her, considering that Agamemnon can still control her. It's possible that she's no longer being controlled by him, but who knows? I'm thinking there'll be another meeting with Lana sometime in the near future, but we shall see. Maybe she'll finally tell us the truth, or she could just start lying again. But anyways, bye. I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye. Okay, bye. See you. Bye. Take care. Bye.